everyone. Welcome to the Play Choices podcast, a podcast you hear. I'm your host, V.
Hi, I'm the co-host, Lucas.
So we're going to spend this episode discussing chapters 1 through 2 of Wolf Bride. This episode is not spoiler safe, so if you want to avoid spoilers for Wolf Bride, chapters 1 through 2, please go read those first, and we'll be here for you to come back and listen. This book, I need to put a content warning. I remember someone saw that, we were going to do episodes of it and stuff, and they listed, 30 different content warnings for the book, and I was like, I can't remember all of that. It was very funny to see, but I was like, I can't physically recite all of that in the beginning of the book. I know for sure that this book describes, kidnapping and, Stockholm Syndrome. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other, probably, abusive relationship tendencies. I was going to say borderline, but I feel like it's just straight up abusive. And just in general, just know that, Wolf Bride is definitely one of the most controversial, if not the most controversial choices book out there. So I would just caution everybody, if you're sensitive to these type of topics, which I would imagine the majority of us are sensitive when it comes to topics like kidnapping and Stockholm Syndrome and abuse, just listen with caution. We're going to, of course, try to be respectful of these topics because they are highly sensitive and problematic. And I would just say in general, we're probably not capturing all of the appropriate content warnings because, we've only read up through I think I've read up to chapter 3. You've probably only read up to chapter 2. So we haven't gotten that far into the plot. There may be other things that come up that, we're not aware of, and we'll just try to call out any possible content warnings when we get to them. But that's my first warning. My second warning is that, like I said, I know Wolf Bride is very contentious book. Some people really love it. Some people really hate it. I'm just going to come out and say, and I know I've said this before, this doesn't only apply to Wolf Bride. It applies to every Choices book. Please, if we don't like a book that you like, it's not personal. Please do not get offended if you really love Wolf Bride and we don't. Please don't get offended if you really hated Wolf Bride and we don't hate it. It's not that serious. We all have our own opinions about stuff that we read. We're going to do the thing that we do where we talk about books and make fun of them. That's our shtick. So yeah, please just don't come in my comments, trying to defend the book. The book is not anything to be defended. We just read it and we interpret it, and it is what it is. Okay. Wolf Bride. Woo!
Oh, oh, it's there's so much, but nothing to unpack.
Yeah.
It's like having a big ass suitcase and you open it and you're like, why is there a pair of gym clothes in here?
Yeah. It's there's a lot to unpack, but I don't want to touch any of it. It's when you come back from vacation.
Absolutely.
And you
that
look
is
at your
the
suitcase
perfect way. Yes.
That's how I feel about this book. I feel like I just got back from the airport, and
Right.
I feel like I just opened up my suitcase, and not even opened up. I feel like I left my suitcase in my living room and said, I want to deal with that later.
Absolutely.
And then 3 weeks passed, and it's still
there.
Or you ever had that situation where you come back from traveling and 2 weeks pass and you just grab a shit out the suitcase?
Yes.
And you step it over that bitch? That's how I feel about Wolf Bride. Oh my god, let's just jump into it because, my notes, it's so crazy because, I have literal, 3.5 pages of notes, but, it's just crazy. I've never had this many notes for a book that I feel so sketchy about. Okay, we're going to begin with chapter 1 of Wolf Bride, titled Hunt's Peak. So as a reminder, the default MC name is Selene Russet, so that will be how we refer to the MC for the duration of the episode. Chapter summary says, drawn by dreams to your mother's childhood home, you find an unexpected connection with a dangerous and mysterious man. So the chapter is opened by a vision of Selene running through the woods as a wolf chases her. Selene questions if she's running due to fear or because she is thrilled by the chase. The wolf catches her and then transforms into a human. The lust between the two is clear, and despite Selene not knowing him, she does feel close to him. While you can reject the man, it is clear that the narration wants us to know that Selene wants to fuck him. That's written into the plot. It's canon.
It is bright as day, and it's
I'm telling you.
I struggle because I'm such a self-inserter But when
Mm-hmm.
it's this heavy in the dialogue, I'm like, girl, let me just go ahead and give you what you want because I just know I'm not gonna hear the end of it. It's almost
Yeah, when I was like streaming the first 3 chapters of Wolf Bride, every single time she was like, "There's a connection between us." I was like, "No, there's not. I literally feel nothing for this man." Ugh. So as soon as Selene begins to ask questions about him, the scene ends and Selene will wake up in a car accident. Selene is saved from the accident by a mysterious man who also just so happens to be the same man from her dream. She feels a jolt of electricity when he touches her to rescue her. When she is out of the car, Selene recalls that she was driving all night to West Virginia to visit her mother's family and the hometown that her mother never wanted to discuss. I'm telling you, if this ain't a Wattpad
okay,
fanfiction,
okay. No, it is. No, it really is. Like,
it's so funny.
it's almost written as if like Twilight was just about werewolves as well.
Oh my god, no, you're so right.
Yeah.
No, you're so right. It's like if they took Twilight and they just made the main ally a
A
werewolf.
werewolf. Absolutely.
It was a whole
Absolutely.
like, I'm visiting my father for the school year.
Yep. Yep. I'm visiting my roots.
Yeah. My mother never wanted us to speak about our hometown, and I just needed to come here because something about it was just so powerful, and it's a lore. I needed to come here.
I felt your lust from miles away. Like clear
Mm-hmm.
across the country.
And the same thing, like how Edward saved Bella from that car that was like flipping towards her,
Right.
and now this man's saving Selene from a car accident. The parallels are there.
I mean, they're there. They're there.
Mm-hmm. So the man will scold her for falling asleep while driving. Selene looks at the car and determines that it looks salvageable as the damages are minor, which to me, from the artwork, the damages didn't look minor, but
No, it did not. It did not. How do you
she
drive
thinks
in the
she can
woods?
drive it.
Oh my goodness. Listen. It did not look salvageable at all.
That engine was smoking. That windshield was cracked. Like, I was like, bitch. And you trying to tell me I know that airbag popped.
That's what I'm
I know
saying.
that fucking
That's what I'm
airbag popped.
saying.
Once the airbag pops, it's
It's
done,
done.
bitch. You gotta let that car go.
For real. Time of
You gonna have to
death.
take a plane. You gonna have to take a plane, bitch. Like, you are not getting back in that motherfucking car. Okay, so Selene will finally get a name out of the mysterious man. You can change his default name, but for the purposes of this podcast, we'll just call him by his default name, which is Bastien. Selene will continuously think about how attracted to him she is before asking where they are. Bastien will answer that she is close to Hunt's Peak, the town that Selene was heading to. She begins babbling and revealing just way too much personal information to Bastien about why she was heading to Hunt's Peak. Like, she just started telling him everything. Bastien will weirdly say to Selene, "It's a pleasure to meet you at last," which, again, another thing that just really creeped me out. The beginning scene, he reveals that an unknown they have been waiting for Selene and says that her mother leaving town was a huge disappointment. Selene will try to say, just like, hey, it's just small town life, right? And Bastien says, well, something like that. So this does seem to confirm to Selene that her mother's story of being a bored teenager who left town is a cover-up. Selene can ask Bastien about her mother, and he will say that a lot of people are still mad at her for leaving and won't easily forgive her. So already, like, I haven't met Selene's mom, but there's beef
There is beef,
inherently
like,
in the plot.
automatically. I was like, wow, we're getting all of this in the first 5 seconds of this chapter. Like, it was just such an information dump, but also, like, no
There's
information
so
at
much
all.
exposition.
Yeah, like,
There's so much
absolutely.
exposition.
Yes.
Selene will attempt to call someone to fix her car, but she doesn't have signal. Just then, someone will pull up with a car, and Selene feels a pull to the driver, too. The driver gets out of the car and introduces herself as Morgan, an employee of the forestry department. Bastien is immediately aggressive to Morgan, telling her to go away and that she doesn't have any authority in the woods. Bastien accuses her of destroying the woods since she works for a company called Sayer Energy and Power. Morgan clarifies that she is a researcher for SCP and also a ranger. There's too much happening. We're getting introduced to too many characters. I'm getting introduced to a conflict that I know nothing about. The first chapter of Wolf Bride is so overwhelming.
No, like, truly, like, and you figure out nothing, but it's still so overwhelming. Like, both LIs in a span of 5 seconds, I was like, no. It was giving me whiplash. It was giving me so much whiplash.
Yes. Like you said it perfectly, that it's a complete and total information dump. Which, there's a way to... It's not that you can't do information dumps, but I just feel like this is an example of how to do it poorly. Because I'm overwhelmed. Like, I just
Yeah.
crashed in a car crash. I'm not trying to figure out this much information. And it's crazy because when I tell you Morgan arrived and Bastien was like, bitch, it's on site. And I
On
was like,
site! On site. We got the cryptic messages like, oh my god, oh god, I knew this day would come. I knew you would come back. And it's like, huh?
Uh-huh.
And then this woman pulls up and it's like, yo, get the fuck out of the, these aren't your woods. These are my woods. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I was like, do you own the land or something? Is that why you were here in the middle of this strange forest to rescue me from a car accident? Like, it's just so, too much. So Morgan will offer to take Selene to somewhere she can fix her car, and Bastien will counter-offer that cutting through the forest is shorter and says that the forest is Selene's heritage, and if she goes with him, he will show it to her for 12 diamonds. Did you take this scene?
Listen.
Oh,
Every
God.
scene.
I'm sorry. When you said listen, I was like, what is he about to say?
Every diamond scene I have taken in these 2 chapters is just like, I want to get to the punchline of like who I am and what happened. And when I tell you, oh my god, every scene is just wasted. Oh my goodness.
It's horrible. I didn't take any of the diamond scenes while I was streaming, but I did obviously do my due diligence as producer and watch them. And like, oh my god, it's just like, it's like trying to learn more information about Logan from Ride or Die or Gabe from Lost Attraction, because it's just a waste, just a complete waste of time and money.
I am chipping away, child. I am chipping away, and there's just nothing fruitful coming from it. And this big, huge, brolic ass man want to be like, I'm gonna show you your past. No, you didn't. You did not.
Bitch, when I tell you, I am not an outdoors person. And when he was like, scrolling through the forest is shorter, I said, but bears and lions and oh my, you want me to stroll through the mother? Didn't I just survive a car crash? I don't think I should be moving that much. Like, it's kind of crazy how she just got into a car crash and Bastien's like, let's run a marathon right now. Right. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But yeah. Like, Morgan's just so much more normal. I was like, obviously, I can't believe going with Morgan is a free option. I feel like it should be the opposite. Like, I feel like it's should, like, right? If you want to stay safe, you pay diamonds, and if you want to risk your motherfucking life, you go in the forest. Like, this is like Stranger Danger 101, and the fact that Selene doesn't understand that, it just really bothers me.
And I mean, you knew what she wanted to choose. Like, and it is just so crazy. I feel like I have zilch control over this character.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like Selene is like what every parent fears that their teenage daughter is gonna do. Like, gets into a car crash, follows a mysterious man into the woods. Like, I just feel like this is what my mother must have been worrying about when I was, like, 15. Because she's just, there's just no, it's crazy because her dialogue is like, wow, this is really strange. And then she just continues to go along with whatever the situation is at hand.
Absolutely.
Like, you are a grown-ass woman, and there is another woman, which, like, I understand part of it is like sexism, but like, you have a man here who is acting weird as fuck and keeps threateningly alluding to the fact that like he knows who you are and he's been waiting for you, and also he has beef with your mom. How do you know this man ain't gonna try to use you to get to your mother if everyone's really that upset about it? You know what I mean? Like, and like, again, I know you can say like, hey V, it's pretty sexist to assume that the woman is safer, but I do feel like as a woman myself, like, there is just like a shared trauma bond of understanding that we are in danger by strange men who do approach us and allude to hating our mother and knowing who we are before we've ever met them.
Right.
And I just feel like Morgan is obviously the safer option here. So, like, the fact that she's, like, Selene would be the first to go in a horror movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, let me interrupt with some plugs. You can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/message. It could show up in a future episode. You can also directly support this podcast by going to anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/support, which will allow you to support us on a monthly basis. You can also go to streamlabs.com/playchoicespodcast/tip to make a one-time tip. All of these links will also be available in the episode description. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to the episode. So, you did take this diamond scene.
I did. A waste of time.
Okay. It was. So let me just narrate it. Again, like Lucas said, it is a waste of time, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on exposition. Well, I literally wrote down, to be honest, you don't really gain much from the scene. Selene will attempt to get info on her mom, the town, and Bastien, but he is evasive in every answer and instead focuses on showing Selene the woods. Like, he just picking up pine cones and me like, wow, look at this.
Picking up fucking birds,
squirrel.
Showing up damn waterfalls. I'm like, we are not on a scavenger
This is just
hunt.
the woods. Anyone who ever lived near a forest has done this before.
Absolutely.
Like, as a child, I definitely went into the woods. Like, he acting like we've never seen a tree before. And do you remember where she said that, like, she lived with her mother? Do you remember what town?
No.
I feel like it does come up in, like, the first couple of chapters. Like, she says that she drove from a particular location. But, like, there's very few cities where, like, if y'all don't just drive 30 minutes out the city and go to a forest.
Yeah, right? Right.
Like, he acting like she's never seen a bird before. Sir. Oh my god. The narration is very heavy-handed in implying that he is not human. He tells Selene that he works to protect the environment. So, at this point in my head, I'm like, this is just like a climate change 101 thing. Like, it's just like human intervention in the environment is bad. Like, that was my first impression.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the beef with Morgan and him.
I say, he Pocahontas? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, pretty much. The free option is to go to town with Morgan. Selene will say that she doesn't know Bastien that well enough yet, and takes Morgan's hand to get into the vehicle. Their hands feel a jolt when they touch. Morgan asks Selene if Bastien hurt her, clearly suggesting that she thinks Bastien is capable of hurting someone to get what he wants, although exactly what he wants isn't clear to us yet. Selene will try to learn more, but they arrive at town, and Morgan will cut the conversation short. At town, Selene's uncle Zane finds her. Selene will attempt to ask about why her mother hates this town, but Zane ignores the question and ushers her to the store to purchase a new outfit. Afterwards, Selene calls the mechanic to ask about her car. By the time she is finished, dinner time has rolled around, and Zane will take Selene to his house, which is very messy and quite dated. Just the description of this house, I was like, I can smell it. Like, I feel like that house has a stench, and it's like, they really described it so well that I was like, I know what this smells like.
Right. And then I got upset because I'm like, you knew I was coming. You couldn't tidy up a little bit, like...
Right! Like, you know you had a guest, make a good impression. You know that, like, I'm nervous because, like, my mother doesn't want to come, and, like, you know that the whole thing was sketchy anyway because you know your sister, like, didn't like the town and stuff, and, like... This motherfucker served us dinner and picked up a hunting rifle and threw it in the corner.
Oh my, I was weak as hell. I'm like, this is why my mom told me not to come here. I'm clearly seeing it as
this is every parent's nightmare. When your parent tells you, like, hey, just be safe, use common sense, don't put yourself in dangerous situations, this is what they fear of. Like, this is, at this point, I know everybody's like, oh, you know, everyone's really mad at your mom. I think that her mom did the right thing by leaving at this current point in time.
Absolutely.
Because everything about this is so weird. Like, there's just, like, bitch, I'm just trying to hang out at the house and watch Netflix. And this motherfucker probably only has 3 channels. Like, I need to go home. Like, oh my god. So Zane will ask why she wanted to come despite her mother not liking the town, and Selene can say that she wants to learn about her family, that she's been having dreams, or say that she's not sure why. What did you pick?
I said I just wanted to know about my family, Like, I want to mention the dreams, because I didn't want to lead that much into the character, right? Because, like, obviously this
right, because Zane ain't giving us much information.
At all. And I'm like...
So why should I give him info?
Exactly. I took every, like, direct approach, like, y'all, who my mama, who you, who this, who that, for 2 whole chapters, and I have obtained nothing.
I'm telling you. Zip Zada, like, there's just no information to be had from these characters. I said I'm not sure why, because that's the truth. I don't know why Selene is there. All the options that I'm picking are like, I don't like Bastien, I don't like Zane, this house is musty, it smells like you have mold in here. So I don't really know why she's here. So that's why I picked I'm not sure why. Zane will say that their family has been in Hunts Peak forever and you can't just turn your back on history. Zane will also reveal that when her mother met her dad and wanted to marry him, everyone was very angry to the point where Zane jokes about killing him. Oh my god. I can't.
I know.
I'm just reliving this chapter and
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just really going through it right now. Okay. When Selene asks why, Zane will clam up again and say that he's just glad that Selene is here. Selene will get angry and demand answers, but boy, Zane, oh, he is a master at just pretending that she didn't say a damn thing. He is so good at it. It's ridiculous. He should be a politician at this point. With
No,
the way he's avoiding answering these questions, he could be a politician.
I'm like, out of everyone, you should be the main one giving me information, no?
Right, like the uncle should be the person that like we look at and we're like, hey, like, you know, we're blood related,
Right.
like you should have some sort of inherent desire to protect me. So like, what's going on here?
Yes.
So Zane will pivot the conversation and strongly suggest and practically tell Selene to go into town to hang out at a bar. Zane won't let Selene refuse, so she goes to the bar and meets a young pregnant woman named Layla. Layla is very friendly and says that she's 6 weeks away from birth. She innocently says that people have been waiting to meet Selene, and Selene once again comments how odd it is that her mother is still well known in this town so many years later. Selene and Layla will move towards a pool table when two people walk in. These two will lock eyes with Selene, say the ritual is about to start, and begin walking towards Selene. Layla grabs Selene's hand reassuringly, and Selene notices that no one is acting like anything is wrong. Layla will try to calm Selene down, but the two people will grab Selene aggressively and assert that she needs to come with them. Selene will try to fight them off, but between the two of them, she cannot escape, and no one else in the bar helps her. They throw her in the back of a van and drive her into the woods. So at this point in the plot, we have officially been kidnapped.
We've been kidnapped. Yeah.
There's nothing I can say. The only thing that I guess from like a stream reaction standpoint is that personally this scene was very triggering for me. I feel like this is every woman's nightmare going on a solo vacation.
Yeah.
And reading it was just very scary.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me that Choices wrote this scene and they didn't think to add a content warning. Like, the only content warning they put in the beginning of the chapter was this book describes a mystical connection between a man and a woman. That is not the most pressing thing about this book.
No, not at all.
Especially not in chapter 1.
Even when Layla like is like trying to like reassure you, like they won't hurt you, just go, fuck you mean? What are you talking about? Like, I was so upset. Everyone at the bar is just like, are you gonna go with them or not? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Everyone at the bar just doesn't even want to make eye contact with you. Like, they're just like, it's so scary. Like, it's, oh my god. I read this scene and like, if I remember correctly, there was a brief moment in stream where I was just like, this is generally like not fun. I'm not having a good time reading this. Like, I'm not having a good time like making fun of it. I am just genuinely like kind of triggered right now. Reading this scene, I am truly just flabbergasted and amazed, and not in a good way, like horrified is probably the better word, that they wrote this scene and then didn't add a content warning, because there are people who have actually been kidnapped in real life, and the fact that they wrote this and just put it in there and just let people just read this is... I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's very disappointing. It was very disturbing to read. Extremely triggering. Whether you've been kidnapped or not, if you've been abducted before, like, I'm so sorry that one, you went through that, and two, that you had to relive it by reading this. I feel like this scene alone is enough of a reason to not read the rest of the book personally.
So I'm 100% behind you. Yeah.
I can't blame people for not liking it. I really can't, because this is really upsetting. And it feels like every behavior that Selene has encountered has like built up to her being kidnapped, and like that's just so upsetting.
Yes. Like the thought that it's like the whole town against her is truly like it's scary as fuck. It is so
Yeah.
scary.
This is everyone's nightmare about traveling to a small town. Like
Yes, no, like truly, yeah.
this is what people are like fearful of traveling, and like it's just so disturbing because like I feel like every other month on Twitter, like I see a story about a woman who traveled like alone, and like someone attempted to sex traffic her, and she just like by the skin of her fucking teeth got out of that
Yeah.
situation alive. I'm not saying like, hey, don't ever write a scene about this. That's not what I'm saying. I think that in most cases it is okay to write about damn near anything if it fits into the plot and if it makes sense.
Yes.
However, not putting a content warning, very, very odd to me. Very odd behavior to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't put a content warning. This scene is so upsetting just to read, and much less to be a person who has even come close to being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Even if you just felt someone was following you and you felt like you were in danger, because I've definitely been followed before. It's horrifying. It's really a scary experience, because I've been followed multiple times, and like you never know how it's going to end. Like thankfully in all my situations, the person has just ended up realizing that I wasn't going to pay them any attention and that I wasn't interested, and they have left alone. But like it doesn't always end like that.
Right.
I was very fortunate that that was the extent that it went. And like the fact that they, oh God, choices.
Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't go back and rewrite, or at least add a warning.
That's my thing. Like
crazy to me.
they just took the biggest L on this. Like they really did.
It's just, it's not good. I'm very disappointed, choices. This is awful. I really can't blame anybody who didn't want to continue reading after this, because there's nothing that happens in chapter 2 that makes up for this scene. Absolutely nothing. They try, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't fit the bill of, like, what I needed for this scene to, like, be quote-unquote okay. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked to death about how offensive the scene is. I'm just go ahead and move on, because I feel like I could speak for another hour about how offensive it is, and I don't even know if my words would do justice to how awful this scene is. Okay, so let's just move on. So when Selene gets out of the car, she will see that she's in the middle of the woods surrounded by people in strange clothing, chanting foreign words. She sees Bastien also dressed in similar clothing, and the chapter ends there. So let's start from chapter 2, titled The Bonding. The chapter summary says, when you are abducted from a bar and taken into the woods, who and what will you find waiting? The chapter will pick up from Selene questioning Bastien on his role in the kidnapping. Bastien ignores Selene and preaches that the earth has returned Selene to the pack, and the others join him in chanting. Selene will think to herself that the chanting feels familiar and almost instinctual. Bastien recites a chant about bounding Selene to Bastien and then grabs Selene, prompting a surge of electricity to run through them. The touch allows Selene to experience the world through Bastien's eyes and gives Selene heightened senses. Selene is scared at the heightened experience, but Bastien is confident and calm. So this is when we're shown a level screen and a prompt saying that we can unlock special abilities throughout the book. The narration mentions a special ending, but I would like to note that the writers scrapped the special ending and never changed the prompt to reflect that. So there is no special ending if you pick all of the scenes to unlock the abilities. Just as FYI, Lucas.
Wow.
I don't know if that was your goal.
It was. It was. Because like the whole like power thing, right? Like the whole like, you know, like throughout this book you can obtain, you know, more powers, and if you get like all of these, you know, whatever, then you get a special scene. Like that seems like a goal to me. That seems like you might as well have given me an XP bar, and now I just got slapped in the face. Yo, Wolf Bride. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that being like one of the many complaints when this book finale hit, and Pixelberry never addressed it. I feel like, personally, this book, from a social media standpoint, was just such a raging dumpster fire that they were like, we're never touching this again. Like, I feel like they just ended it. They were like, we don't ever want to talk about Wolf Bride ever again. Because people were complaining on their social media about the special scene not being a thing. They never went back and added it. They never added any prompts for content warnings like people requested. Like, I feel like they were just like, we're done. That's it. We don't need to do anything more with this book. The special abilities, I feel like, what's the point of me even purchasing them?
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, that is all I'm saying.
So as Selene begins to walk closer to Bastien, she feels a similar bond pull to a woman. Bastien reacts disgustedly to the violation of the bond. Selene will see Morgan briefly, and Bastien releases Selene's hands and stops the ceremony, and Selene will faint shortly after. Selene will wake up in a cave room later. As she comes to, she swears she sees a large dog. She starts to blink, she realizes she only sees Bastien. She notices she feels a small connection between the two of them, as though they are tethered together. As she comes to, Bastien apologizes for the kidnapping, saying it wasn't his intent to scare her. Selene can either flirt with him or get pissed. What did you do?
I got pissed. What the... Like, at this point, everyone in this fucking town knows I'm here for the truth. So why not just offer that? Like, you have to, like, kidnap me and force me to do something that apparently we all know is, you know, according to, like, my heritage, right? Whatever my mama had going on, I get it. Clear as day. We understand that, like, I'm connected to these people, whether I want to or not. But I would like to know the truth instead of being kidnapped and then thrown into some fucking ritual that I don't know shit about at all.
Right.
And then you want to get mad that the ritual fucked up when you don't even know, like, oh my god, just the whole fucking, like, dialogue of this scene pissed me off. It wasn't my intent to, what was your intent? It wasn't to educate me. The fuck?
Right.
How did you know that if you didn't explain the situation to me, I wouldn't have went willingly? Oh.
Before we continue with the rest of the episode, let me interrupt to share our socials. We are at Play Choices Podcast on Instagram, Play Choices Pod on Twitter, and we're also on playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com. I'll post any episode notes relating to this week's episode on Tumblr. We're also available for streaming on all major platforms. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review, as reviews help us in the platform's algorithm. If you leave us a 5-star review, we'll read it on the podcast. As always, we are a growing podcast. If you see us on your socials, we appreciate a reblog, a retweet, or a share depending on the platform you see us on. We also love it when you share our podcast with your choices-loving friends. And back to the episode. Yeah, I mean, I really can't explain my feelings any better. I obviously said I was pissed for all the reasons that Lucas said. Bastien will try to say that he didn't realize that she didn't know the bonding was the previous night. When Selene is shocked that he would insinuate that she should have expected it, he says that if her mother had stayed, she would have known what would occur during the ceremony. This sentence pissed me off because, like, you obviously know my mother didn't stay. That's, like, one of the first things we talked about. You say that everyone knows who her mom is and the fact that she didn't stay.
Thank you.
So the fact that he was like, well, if your mother had stayed, bitch, do not make my mom the reason why that experience was so scary for me.
Right.
Do not. Like, my mother left, like, probably at this point over 20 years ago. So, like, you done been knew that my mother did not stay here. Right. You done been knew that I did not get raised here. So, obviously, I would not know to anticipate the bonding. Ritual. So when he was like, oh, if your mother had stayed, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
This whole excuse of, like, I didn't know, you didn't know, doesn't fucking work. Because why the fuck would I know? There's nothing about the background of my character that he fucking knows, number one, through all town gossip, and two, that I told him. Like, clearly I'm completely clueless. I'm asking about my mother. Like, why would I go to a complete stranger, ask them for details about my mom, if I, for any reason, knew anything about this town? You know damn well I don't know shit. So this whole, like, well, I didn't know that you didn't know. It don't motherfucking work, Bastien. It don't fucking work. Oh my god, he's so annoying.
No, he's insufferable, for real.
The fact that he's trying to act like the innocent guy, he's like, we just innocently kidnapped you. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Oh my god. Bastien will say that he felt the bond immediately upon meeting Selene, and Selene acknowledges that she does feel right next to him, even with the fear. Girl, eye roll. Bastien admits that while he knew Selene would be caught off guard, the strength of the bond overtook his logic, and all he could think about was them being together. Selene can either encourage Bastien or scold him, but either way, Selene does admit that she thinks the bond could be real. Bastien reveals that Zane should have told Selene about the ceremony, and the reason the kidnappers were so rough with Selene was because they thought she was intentionally being difficult. I don't even have anything to say. I just need to breathe.
No, like, truly, because it's just like, there was just no conversation. We didn't converse. Like, the whole, like, oh, we thought you would be different. Like, if y'all were just,
First of all, they walked into the motherfucking bar aggressive as fuck. They're like, it's time to go.
Fuck. To the
it's
point
time to go.
The moment they
the
came
ritual
in,
starts now.
Layla's like, don't worry, they're not gonna hurt you. There's more questions to be asked. Like, I don't need.
Yes.
Like, fuck.
Like, what the fuck, bro? Bastien will continue saying that if Selene was raised with them, the bonding ceremony would be a moment she had prepared for her entire life, and it would have been a joyous memory. It's not a marriage ceremony, but more so an acknowledgement that they are meant to be together. Bastien will suggest that the two continue preparations so he can show Selene what would have happened if the bonding ceremony was done correctly. This is the 15 diamond scene. Did you take this?
I didn't take the scene. I did.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So Bastien will bring in paint, and he will mark Selene with the paint and patterns to symbolize her body. It's just like, he basically just starts drawing on her and is like, this pattern means this pattern symbolizes this, yada yada. He takes her to a sacred spring and tells Selene to play a drum to summon the earth, and then he tells her to submerge her body in the spring and wash off the paint to cleanse herself. You can take this opportunity to kiss him, and then the scene ends. So for me, it's just, I don't know, pointless. I don't really give a fuck about this whole pack cult thing. Whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't really care. So, not an interesting scene to me. Selene will go to bed if you don't take the diamond scene, and she will find a huge paw print that is too big to be a dog's. Selene will leave the room and finds herself in a series of cave pathways. She will run into Layla, the pregnant woman from the bar. Layla will apologize for how the kidnapping went down and says she thought Selene was informed on the ceremony. Again, everyone saying that they thought, bitch, you could not tell from my reaction.
Exactly.
Ma'am, you were there in the flesh. I don't know why you're saying, like, I've never wanted to swing on a pregnant woman before.
I swear it was about to be on
my
God! It was about to be on motherfucking side.
I said, I'm about to fight you and your child.
Because the thing is, the moment she would be acting coy, like, oh yeah, like, we've been waiting for you. Old time God. No, it should have been like, did your uncle tell you about the ritual tonight? Like that should come on.
She should have been like, are you excited for the bonding? Are you excited? And then we'd be like,
what bonding?
What?
And the moment they came in, Layla could have did the, like, you know, like when you take your hand under your chin and you wave it back and forth, like like she not ready. She not ready. Like, because everyone wanted to be like, oh well, we just assumed that you would know. Who gonna tell me? My mama obviously did not tell me. And like, for y'all to just assume my uncle was going to tell me everything. No, he's just too busy throwing fucking rifles around the damn house. Fuck.
He's like, sorry, I got this beauty 25 years ago. And then just throws it onto the back of the couch cushion.
I'm like, just everyone. At this point, this is when I was like, where's Morgan?
No, I'm telling you. I was like, where is my car?
I'm like, where's
She said it was fixable. Bring me my fucking car. So Layla will then introduce Selene to Callum, who also apologizes for the way the kidnapping was handled. I feel like you know something was bad when people you haven't even met before and who weren't even involved, like, start apologizing for the situation.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my god, what a dumpster fire. Bastien will then interrupt the conversation and ask Selene to join him outside. He will begin to introduce us to the people who kidnapped us the previous night.
Oh my god. Guys, we are laughing because we are just so uncomfortable. Because what the fuck?
Could you imagine, like, being, like, assaulted and then someone being like, well, let's meet your assaulters.
Let's look at the lineup.
Jeff and Isabel. Isabel likes long walks on the beach.
Oh my
Jeff likes a good sloppy Joe while he watches the game on Saturday evenings. me introduce you to the people who brought you to the ceremony last night. I said, no, I'm good.
No,
I'm fine.
truly.
I really don't ever want. I can't believe Selene doesn't have PTSD at this point from this whole situation. Because, like, it's just so scary. Oh.
Oh, I know I should have known, but even when Layla was like, when I figured out she was one of them, I'm like, you is a bitch. You are a bitch. Oh my god.
Oh my god. And let me tell you, when you see their faces, they look mean as fuck. They sent the two meanest fucking bitches to come retrieve us for this ceremony. We also meet an older woman named Noemi. We get the chance to talk to all three. So Noemi is a pack elder and speaker who manages the ceremonies. Noemi has a grandmotherly vibe with Bastien. Selene will confide in Noemi that she felt another's presence during their bond experience with Bastien, and Bastien will get upset at it, but Noemi's like, it could happen, you know, like, nothing's impossible. Jet is just angry. He's just mad that they accepted an outsider. He's clearly upset that we were not excited about the bonding ceremony because he says it's an honor to participate in it. And Jet says that Selene will never fit in because she was never raised with them, which I don't necessarily disagree with Jet. I gotta go home. I don't want to be here. There's nothing I have in common with y'all. I gotta go.
Yeah, no, truly. I'm like, did you speak your voice at the meeting? Like, did you tell everyone this, that it probably was a bad idea?
Yeah, and Bastien was like, I need to fuck her. I love her.
She's mine. And everyone's like,
she's mine.
Yes, you're right. No, you're right. Go get her. Like, the fuck?
Pretty much. Then we meet Isabel. Isabel will tease Selene. My god.
This bitch giving me Rosalie from Twilight vibes. This bitch.
So Isabel will meanly tease Selene and says that Bastien will tire of Selene soon enough. Isabel is clearly against Bastien and Selene's bond, and in layman's terms, we learn that Isabel is Bastien's ex. She thinks that she's a better fit for Bastien.
And maybe you are, bitch.
You are. She absolutely is. She can have her mans. You know when someone's like, oh, I see you looking at my boyfriend, and you're just like, I'm really not.
I'm truly not. Like, I'm really not.
He is yours. You can have him, bitch. Like, I don't want anything to do with this man. He looks like he bathes in the river. I don't want anything to do with him. You can keep his ass.
Out from a suburb home.
It's so funny because I was listening to Up by Cardi B last night, and there's a line where she was like, once upon a time a bitch called me I was ugly. It came from a bitch whose man wanted to fuck me. And that's what I feel like this motherfucking situation is. I literally feel like that's Isabel and Selene right now. Cause like, girl, you mad as hell, but like, I'm not the one going after. You know how much Bastien wanted me? He arranged a kidnapping. That's how much he wanted me, and you mad at me?
It made you do it.
No, I'm telling you, he made Isabel fetch his future wife.
Is he mad because you not me? Just say that. Like, just say that because.
Oh my god, I've never been victim blamed so hard before in my life. Just like, this is an honor, bitch. You should be happy to be here. Isabel's like, that man got a diamond dick. I can't believe you don't like him. I can't believe you're not good enough for him. You little peasant ass bitch. I'ma steal him from you. It's like, bitch, there is nothing to be stolen. He is not mine. Like, I do not want this man.
She's looking at you like you probably bathe in the shower, huh?
Right? You probably take care of yourself, don't you? So later, Selene will go outside to be by herself, which, like, same bitch. She's like, I just need a moment alone. Selene is exhausted because she feels like no one is telling her the truth. Suddenly, Morgan will find her as she suspected the pack had kidnapped Selene, which is just crazy that Morgan showed up and she was like, girl, I told you I done told you. I done told you they were gonna do some shit like this. As Morgan begins ushering Selene away, Morgan will notice that Selene hangs back. Morgan will sadly comment that they've already gotten to Selene and warns her that she's in danger. Morgan doesn't want to reveal any more info because they're in the pack's territory. For 15 diamonds, you can go with Morgan to learn about the pack. Did you take this?
Yes, and didn't learn a damn thing, but absolutely. I said, Morgan, baby, go. Let's go, please. I said, can we go? You get more insight on who she is and, like, her role. And she's trying to create a healthy balance between civilization and, like, population growth and, like, the environmental factors and making sure that, like, people still have homes, but also the environment is not being, too much like what's the word?
Destroyed, pretty
Yeah,
much.
basically right. And in order for new people to grow, and that's why Bastion's crew is so upset because they're all these woodsy hipsies, and they're like, no, like you shouldn't be like tearing down anything for population growth at all whatsoever. You can ask if she felt a connection last night,
Hmm.
and she does agree, and there's an option to flirt with her, and then that's basically it. She doesn't tell you anything about the fucking pack.
Wow, they really made her. Oh my god. You know what? I think this pack doesn't like women. Because between Morgan and Celine's mother, they just going after their heads. And like, that
Absolutely.
doesn't sound like she's doing anything wrong.
Absolutely. And then like the conversation will come to an end like this like, oh, well maybe we should maybe I should head back to Bastion,
Hmm.
or Bastion ends up finding them, and then that's when like the epilogue of
Yeah.
the chapter happens.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So Bastion, Jet, and Callum will find Morgan speaking to Selene. Bastion will tell Morgan to back off, and they square up for a fight. Selene will begin to stop the fight, but Bastion's form begins to change, and he morphs into a werewolf with a six-pack.
Yes.
Ah. Uh,
Very defined six pack.
I'm telling you, this man must have been a bodybuilder
Yeah.
and his wolf life. I don't know if in his wolf form he doing crunches or something.
Right, he bench pressing trees and shit. Like,
Picks up a boulder and just starts using it like an exercise ball.
oh my god.
Oh my god. I literally, this is so, because I have the replay of when I played Wolf Bride Chapter 1, or Chapter 2, sorry, on YouTube. And it's so funny because I saw the animation pop up. I said, why did they make him sexy?
Yeah, no, but I don't understand. I don't
Oh my
understand.
god, that scene was
Like,
made for the furries. It really was. Because why did they give his werewolf form a six-pack?
is it not enough that he's just a werewolf? Like, he has to be a sexy, hot
Why does
werewolf?
he have to be a sexy werewolf? Like, are we gonna fuck in his wolf form? Like, why did they give him a six-pack? Like, I don't understand. Oh my god, it's just so upsetting. Like, everything about this book is so upsetting. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so after Bastion transforms, Jet and Callum will transform too, and Bastion tells Morgan that Selene is his. Before we continue with the rest of the episode, I do want to remind everyone that if you have any questions or comments that you would like to be included in a future episode, please email us at playchoicespodcast@gmail.com. Questions can be related to books we've recorded episodes on, books that we haven't read yet, or even questions you'd like to ask us. Please specify if you want a shout out, otherwise all emails will be anonymous. Alternatively, you can go to our ask box on playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com and submit a question. Just specify that is for the podcast and we'll be sure to include it. And back to our episode. Let's just very quickly do rapid fire impressions. Let's start with Bastion.
I hate him.
Yep. Morgan.
Um,
My
ma'am.
only hope.
But like, here's the thing: if you go be an ally, be a damn ally, bitch. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, be a motherfucker. And give me the tea. Give me like you know more than what you are. Maybe she doesn't though. Like, maybe she doesn't. Because I think in the diamond scene, she was like, "Yeah, they're just something like it seems like they're like supernatural hippies or something." Maybe she doesn't know, but like, girl, you right, hope. That's it. She's my only
Well,
hope.
the only thing that I don't like about Morgan is that, like, during the freeze scene, if you don't accept Bastion's offer to go to the waterfall, which I understand you took the diamond scene and didn't get the
Uh-huh.
freeze scene, but in that scene, like, she'll kind of allude, like I said, to the pack potentially being dangerous, and especially Bastion. And Selene will try to ask more, and she's just like, "Oh, we're in town, like TTYL, girl." And I'm like, "Girl, if you don't tell me what the fuck going on." That man was the first man I met in this town, so you better tell me if he's dangerous, because, like, now I'm
Right,
nervous.
right.
But for real, I do feel like she's our only chance at escape, so I'm not
Hmm.
about to, like, bite the hand that feeds, per se.
Right.
Isabel?
On site. I hate her.
I will not say on site because I feel like she will kill me. I do feel like we would lose in a fight to her.
I'm gonna use my uncle's rifle. The fuck?
Girl, if
He
we ever
got
make it
18
back
of them.
home, if we ever
Right.
see the inside of his house again. Okay, Layla.
On site after she get her baby. After she have a baby, it's
I'll
on
fight
site.
her right now. I don't give a fuck. She pissed me the fuck off. Oh, Jet.
You know what? He might have a point. I can't be mad. I feel like out of everyone in this, werewolf hippie territory, he's the one that's making the most sense.
I don't like his disposition, but he's not wrong.
Right,
Is
right.
basically how I feel. And did you also, like, someone told me that they thought that Callum was like a knockoff Robin. Like, they use like Robin Sprite.
I do. I can see it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to bingo for anyone who is unfamiliar with bingo. Bingo is basically a bingo card that we make full of tropes that we think may come true based on the theme of the book. I was the one who compiled this, so I would just say let's just go ahead and jump into it. The first option is werewolf transforms in front of a horrified spectator.
Yeah.
Which
I think
did
we
indeed
can.
happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
That absolutely happens. Very common werewolf trope. Extremely common. The next prompt is transforming into a werewolf is painful and traumatic. I don't really... Did we ever get that impression that, like, it hurt?
No.
Okay. Werewolves are born. I feel like we need to learn more lore about whether they're
Yeah, a little bit
born like
more.
that. Werewolves are turned. Again, I feel like we need more lore. When werewolves shift into wolf form, they are more aggressive and or violent.
I mean, yes.
You think so? I don't, like, we've seen them for like 5 seconds.
Right. And also, like, he's just aggressive and violent in human form as well. So really, I mean,
Yeah, like, it's hard for me to know if he's aggressive because he turned into a wolf form or if he turned to a wolf form because he's aggressive. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg question of, like, what comes first. The next prompt says a non-werewolf slays a werewolf. We haven't seen a werewolf die yet, so we don't know. The next one says that werewolves are inherently sexual, which it does feel like that is true. Selene just wants to fuck Bastien.
Yeah, truly.
Absolutely. I am marking that so quickly. The next prompt says a werewolf awakens from a night with no memory, disoriented, and likely nude. We don't really have any, like, experience of that yet.
Right.
The next one is there are comparisons between werewolves and dogs or jokes about the two. Well, does the paw print thing where she's like, is that a really large dog? Does that count?
I mean, that does seem like a joke. That's especially because we knew it was a werewolf, right? I mean, Wolf Bride, like, we knew. I feel like we would need one more, though. Like, we would need one more comparison of, like, a dog and a wolf.
Something more direct.
Right.
The next one is werewolves attack people, or they're in general bloodthirsty. I don't know if we've gotten bloodthirsty from these werewolves.
Yeah, no.
Aggro, yes, but...
Yes.
Okay, the next prompt is that the setting is in a dark forest, which, like, absolutely. I'm marking the fuck out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next prompt is that there are werewolf hunters. I haven't seen anything like that yet. The next prompt says there is a werewolf who doesn't want to be a werewolf, so a werewolf who's in an existential crisis. Haven't seen that yet. The next prompt says werewolves live in packs, and new werewolves are usually pressured to join a pack. I don't know about that second part. I know the pack thing is obviously, like, you've seen that already, but I don't know about, like, if they transform into new werewolves, like, what happens.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that blank for now. Werewolf transformations can be involuntary or uncontrollable, which we haven't seen yet. The next prompt says full moons are when werewolves are their most powerful. Again, haven't seen that yet. The next prompt says werewolves are protectors or guardians of something. Does it count when Bastien says, like, I protect the environment?
Right.
I would say yes.
Yeah, def.
Okay, the next prompt says that Silver can kill a werewolf. Haven't seen any mention of that yet. The next prompt says werewolves have a werewolf form, a wolf form, and a human form. I think we need to see the wolf form first.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the werewolf and a human, but not a wolf form. The next prompt says animalistic instincts overtake human social tendencies. I do feel like this is true. Because obviously it's not polite to fucking kidnap someone, but because of their stupid bonding ritual, and because of how animalistic the connection is between Bastien and Selene, he thought that it was appropriate to do what he did, which it was not. Okay, the next prompt says normal, non-silver weapons are used against werewolves with little or no damage dealt. Again, haven't seen that yet. The next one says that werewolves mate for life. I don't know if it's for life, honestly. I'm getting that impression, but I don't know. The next prompt says the werewolves operate with an alpha and or omega dynamics. We haven't learned really that much about it. The next prompt says once a werewolf, you're always a werewolf. Like, it's incurable, basically. And again, we haven't discovered that. So that's the end of our bingo. We have 5 boxes crossed out. I really do anticipate, like, we have just ended chapter 2 finally with Selene figuring out that they're werewolves. So I do feel like after this, I feel like we're just going to be knocking them out, you know?
Yeah, truly, hopefully, and get more fucking information about who we are, you know.
Right. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for covering this book, but that's it. I apologize.
Yeah.
I will do the apology since, Choices doesn't want to.
Absolutely, and I second that.
Okay, well, thank you everybody so much for listening. If you would like to follow us on social media, we're at playchoicespodcast on Twitter and playchoicespodcast on Instagram. If you want to follow us on Tumblr, it's playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com. And we will see you all for our next full episode. Bye.
Bye, guys. Motherfucking wolf bride, bitch.